And there's the torn Old Glory. Morning, how are you? Good. What's that?
Are you here to pick up keys?
No, ma'am.
No? Okay. I'll be right with you.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it. No complaint forms in the lobby. I was hoping to speak with a supervisor. I would like to file a complaint and submit a public records request.
Public record request. Let me give you a phone number for public records request. File a complaint. You have to call Crime Stop. Is it an emergency?
What's that?
Is it an emergency?
I'd like to speak with a super. Yeah, in my case, yeah.
Okay, because I don't have any officers available right now. They have someone, they're busy right now on their booking.
There's no I specifically need a supervisor or a watch commander or somebody like that.
Give me 1 second.
Thank you, I appreciate it. And what was your name?
Claudia?
Claudia, thank you very much. My name is John. John, yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Hi there.
How you doing, sir?
Good, how are you?
Good, my name is John. My son was involved in a traffic accident on the 2nd,
Okay,
to which Officer Borovac responded.
okay,
And it didn't go well. In a nutshell, like about 3:30 in the afternoon, I get a phone call from my son. He's fairly frantic. Dad, I've been in a car accident. It's bad. And
Okay.
crying, 17 years old.
okay,
First big car accident.
okay,
Context. I jump in my car, it's just a few blocks away. And
you know where it's at?
yes, North Valley Parkway. I've got all the documents. You don't even need to write
Okay.
it down. I got it all right here for you.
Okay,
And a little more context. I'm a private investigator for 30 years.
okay,
All right. During which time I've developed a certain skill set that's afforded me the opportunity to have and train you guys from across the state, law enforcement from across the state, some of the very best of our military to go to bad places and do good things for our country.
okay,
Okay, so I'm familiar with what you guys do.
okay,
Okay, that's just some context, right? So, upon arriving on scene, I get there, no law enforcement, no fire personnel, 2 wrecked cars, see my son outside the car, just hysterical, walking around in a daze. I see another person sitting on the ground, I assume it's the driver. I immediately go to my son, console my son, get him a little calm down, it's gonna be okay, blah, 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 blah. Once I get him under control, check on the other driver, see it looks like everybody's gonna go home. First initial
Nobody's
thing.
hurt?
Well, there's fire department arrived, gave medical treatment. Insurance companies will handle the back end. I'm not
Sure.
worried about that.
okay,
Good news is everybody went home and slept in their own bed that night.
Good.
Okay, so we're happy
Okay.
about that. So, I have an app on my phone. Okay, notice I'm not using my phone because I'm specifically having this conversation with you, and I don't want to make you think that that was my intention.
okay,
That allows me to use my camera and still operate my phone. As an investigator for 30 years,
sure,
just like I'm sure you know, as an officer of 25 years plus, you have a traffic scene. If you can have the opportunity to video record or capture statements, you do it.
sure,
Right. It's organic, it's on the deal. So I activated that app, started working for a tow truck. Okay. Fire shows up, starts treating everybody, everybody's cool. Officer Borovac arrives on scene. I'm on the phone with the insurance company and trying to get a tow truck. Horrible experience. If you have American Family, don't ever use them. I mean,
Right.
yeah. They thought my car was in Canada once for a tow. No, that's no joke. It
Yeah.
took 12 hours to get a tow. The last time it took 6, okay? Getting a tow from them is challenging. So immediately, that's one of the reasons I wanted to start right away, because I knew it's going to be a problem.
Sure.
So he arrives, he's doing his thing. I have no expectation that he's going to come rushing over to me as the father and go, is everything okay?
Sure.
Not my expectation. I got shit to do, he's got shit to do. Let's do what we're supposed to do and get the hell out of here. Right? That's my deal, right? He walks, while he's doing his thing, we happen to be parallel to each other at some point, and he says, I'll get to you in a minute. Fine, I'm on the phone, no big deal. Fast forward, probably maybe 7, 8 minutes later, still on the phone with my insurance company. My son is literally at this point sitting in the driver's seat of the car crying, right? And I'm standing at the very front of the vehicle, keeping an eye on my son. Officer was over talking to the other driver. I'm on the phone. I'm recording at this point. Reasonable person would assume he has no idea that I'm recording, and my intention wasn't to read this before the cops. So I just want to make, that's why I want to lay that groundwork. And this contact, about this exchange that I'm about to tell you, happens in 21 seconds.
You just assaulted me. You just assaulted me.
He says to me,
You just assaulted me.
I've called a record. Okay. To which I say, I'm on the phone with my insurance company now. I prefer to use my own tow truck. Okay. Now, my 30 years of training and experience, interrogation, body language, all of that, just like he has.
Tyler, I got it.
Immediately, body language changed. You know, became an authoritative figure.
Get in the car.
And tells me,
I'm willing to.
with some amount of what I felt was disrespect,
treat me like the citizen that you
will use the tow truck company to get you.
You let me know. Until
you know, like,
then, get
hey,
me
you know, I'll talk to you about it in a minute. You know, whatever. You know, I haven't raised my voice to him at all at this point.
Sure.
All I've said is, you know, hey, I prefer to use my tow truck. And as a matter of fact, I even
think
think
the vehicle in the block in the roadway, or is it on the side?
by this time, the fire truck's there, blocking the lanes, several witness cars behind.
But is your son's car in the street, in the roadway, or is it?
Yeah, it's perpendicular in the roadway. Okay. Yeah, it's perpendicular, blocked by a fire truck.
Okay.
Okay. Blocked by another witness that arrived before I did's vehicle, another vehicle, and maybe even a third vehicle. So the fire truck has got everything blocked off because the other car is also.
Sure.
My son's in the right turn lane, okay, number 2 lane. Other car is in the number 1 lane facing the opposite way of traffic. Okay. Both car damage, you know. The vehicles have died and released their fluids just like a body, you know,
Sure.
just it's over, man. The scene's under control. There's flares out everywhere.
Right.
You know, you know, I'm not standing in the street. I think I was and I told Sergeant Garcia, I was either Sergeant Garcia showed up on scene. He was one of the patrol patrol supervisors because I requested a supervisor. I was either standing on the curb or standing in the gutter in front of my car. Okay. My son was literally in the driver's seat. He was with the other party. He starts walking towards his motorcycle as we have this exchange. Called a wrecker. Hey, I'm on the phone. I prefer to use my own tow truck. I even think I said, thank you though. You know, I'm respectful. I'm not one of these assholes, right, that just gets in your face.
Right.
But I will not be disrespected. All right? And when his body language changed and he became that authoritative figure instead of my public servant, okay, that's when my attitude changes. And I said, you'll check yourself. And now my voice, you know, it's not as calm as we're having this, but my voice got raised, elevated in a stern manner, not in a yelling manner. And I said, you'll check yourself and you'll address me with the respect of the citizen that you serve. Right? Now he's over by his motorbike. So you got me, the wrecked car, his motorbike. He's now almost over by his motorbike. To that response, he walks 15 feet over to me gets right in my face and tells me to calm down.
Okay.
To which I said, my son has just been in a car accident. Now, the next exchange happens in 4 seconds. Calm down. My son has just been in a car accident. Move back 3 feet. It's not a lawful order. He approached me from 15 feet away to have this exchange.
Okay.
A disrespectful exchange, after I checked him on his attitude. And he walked over to me and tells me to calm down. I haven't raised my voice at this point. I've gotten stern with the man, absolutely. I haven't raised my voice.
Right.
I haven't.
That wasn't necessarily respectful to him by telling him that you will check yourself. That's
yeah. Well,
that's a real. That's,
fair enough. Fair enough.
That's
fair enough.
But
he's in a higher role. He's in the role of a public servant. He didn't arrive on the scene of a crime scene. You know, he didn't arrive where there was fighting between drivers. He didn't arrive on the scene of any of that. Let's take the totality of the circumstances, okay? What he's arrived on the scene is, he's arrived on the scene of where there's an injured 17-year-old driver. There's an injured older female driver that's sitting on the ground. Fire is responded. The scene is calm, right? That's the totality of the scene that he arrived on, right? You know, and as a public servant, a police officer, my expectation would be he'd arrive on on this scene with some sort of empathy, decorum, and professionalism, right? And if somebody says, "Hey, I'd prefer to use my own truck, tow truck. Thank you, though." There's no need to get aggressive, man. Think about my son is sitting in the driver's seat.
What was his answer to you?
What do you mean? What was his answer?
Which tow truck comes first? I mean, you started this saying
look,
it took
man.
6 hours. It
Look.
took 6 hours to get a tow truck.
Right.
We can't hold a lane
Look.
for 6 hours.
I understand. Have a conversation with me.
Okay.
Okay. Have a conversation with me. My son is sitting in the driver's seat, crying his eyes out. I'm on the phone. Okay. I'm worried about my son. I'm worried about the other driver. Right. I'm not an asshole. The last thing I needed to have is some cop jumping down my throat. Right? Hey, Dad, calm down a minute. You know, we can talk in a second. It's going to be okay. Better approach, Sergeant? Better approach?
Maybe, yes.
Right?
Let me hear it out.
Yeah. And I appreciate you hearing me out, man. Don't take my word for it. Watch the body cam.
Yep.
Right?
I will. Yep.
You know. So as this proceeds, he pushes me back with enough force that I literally stumble back to catch my balance, right?
Okay.
13-1203, you know, B and C. It was unprovoked. Unprovoked assault. Simple assault, not the biggest egregious offense in the world. Do I want to press charges against that officer? Absolutely not. But in the course of his duties, not acceptable. So he proceeds at one point to want to get my son's side of the story. Reasonable request from the officer. And now at this point, after the exchange, I tell my son, don't answer questions. I don't want to talk to this officer. I've already requested a supervisor, mind you. I'm willing to have a reasonable conversation with any police officer. I'm not one of these guys that I don't speak to cops. You know, with what I do, I have to have a relationship with you guys. I have to, right? We need good cops out there. We do. I support you guys. I'm not defund the cops. Right. Divert some training, absolutely. I think for some constitutional training. That's my opinion, right? But during this, he tries to I say, don't answer questions. He tells me he has to. Now, we're in 2021, officer. How many videos are out there of people knowing their rights, knowing that we don't have to answer questions? And then this cop turns around and tells me, after I tell my minor son, don't answer questions, he tells me he has to. I tell him, my son has no legal obligation to participate in your investigation.
Get me.
Again, body language change. intimidation, step forward, it's the law, he has to move back. And he steps forward to me and tells me to move back. To which I replied, that is my minor child. I will decide when and what questions he answers. Then he finally ends up backing down a little bit. Okay? Then he tries at one point to get me, tell me I'm obstructing.
Tyler, now.
That makes me laugh.
No, it doesn't make me laugh.
It does. It makes me laugh, because he's trying to tell me I'm obstructing when I'm in the presence of my minor son trying to defend his Fifth Amendment right.
But he's not under arrest.
I don't ever have to answer questions. My son has met his legal obligation under 281595. No, to exhibit his driver's license and registration. He remained at the scene. He exceeded his legal obligation to that man by providing his phone number and surrendering his driver's license and registration at the scene. He's exceeded his legal obligation to that officer. Beyond that, he has no legal obligation whatsoever to participate in his investigation. Clearly stated in the Fifth Amendment, clearly supported by case law, and also supported by Arizona state statute 281595 and 132412. We have no legal obligation to answer your questions and participate in your investigation, may it be against us. The Supreme Court even said only a fool would advise his client to speak with the police. So when I tell my son that's my minor child, he won't answer questions, and that cop tells me a lot, it's the law, that is a flat out lie and misunderstanding of the law. With 20 years experience, you should be ashamed of that officer.
Well, it's not a criminal investigation.
It doesn't matter. Under any circumstances, I don't have to.
That's not true.
No, please
true.
Tell me what circumstances.
Because this is a simple
right.
insurance deal.
Right.
That
has severe financial implications.
But
should my
that's
son?
Not criminal. That's
it doesn't matter.
That's not in the criminal
but
world.
any statements my son makes, right, can be subpoenaed by the insurance companies. Any statements anybody makes, because it's a police investigation, could be subpoenaed by the insurance companies, which could at some point.
It's a complete civil matter.
It doesn't. We are still under no circumstances required to, beyond meeting our legal obligations, required by law to answer. Can you concede to that? Beyond meeting, we are not required to answer your questions.
That is not the. Yeah, if you choose not to answer our questions, that's.
And if you force
it is not a constitutional issue at that point.
Oh, it's absolutely, because if you force me or my son to answer questions under threat of a lawful order, under color of law, that's a violation of constitutional rights. How can you not know that, Sergeant?
No, it's not. It's because this is in the civil.
Civil or not, you're law enforcement. Your job is to enforce laws, not civil actions. Your job is to take the report. And if I choose not to participate in your report, so be it.
Okay. He did his best to try to get a statement.
By threatening my son with under color of law, that if he didn't say it, he had the lawful authority to arrest my son.
No, he didn't.
That
is not what he said. He did not threaten to arrest your son.
Sergeant, don't twist it.
No.
That is my son.
Sergeant,
Sergeant, no, stop. My son is 17 years old. In mindset, 17. A lawful sergeant, an officer tells a 17-year-old son, "You have to answer my questions. It's the law." You don't think that 17-year-old son is going to feel intimidated that he might get arrested?
He shouldn't, because it's not.
Oh my God! I can't believe you just. Your body cam running on that one, Sergeant?
It is.
Oh, awesome! I can't believe you just said that. You don't think a 17-year-old, if a cop uses an untruth and a non-factual statement, that's the sergeant telling a lie to a 17-year-old. Oh my God, I don't believe you see it.
Well, it's a civil matter, sir. He is not in any jeopardy of going, the whole constitutional issue revolves around the jeopardy of imprisonment.
So what you're saying is my son had a legal obligation to answer that man's question?
No, your son should have answered the question because it's in the purpose of trying to
Why would he participate in an investigation?
Because that's the normal thing that normal people usually give their statement of what lane they were in, how they were driving, how the accident
to a man. You would give that statement to a man that just pushed his father in front of him?
Because his father, I mean, you're interfering in his investigation, even though
that's my minor son.
I know.
He's not allowed to talk to my son without or to answer my son. My son doesn't have to answer any questions outside of my presence. It doesn't, Sergeant. Are you serious?
I'm serious.
So unless you read somebody's
criminal,
let me make sure I have
jeopardy of going to jail.
Okay.
This is not
let me make sure I have a clear understanding of what you're saying. Okay. So unless you've read somebody their Miranda rights, they have to answer your questions.
No.
Okay. Then unless they read the Miranda rights, they are okay. So let me give you a reason why somebody should never answer questions. Okay. And I'm going to give you a hypothetical because I know this is it's a real life case, right? Guy's driving a little red Nissan truck. He goes to the liquor store, buys a pack of smokes. He's on his way home, right? He stops off somewhere to get something else. He leaves that place. And between the time that happens, somebody in another little red truck, right, robs the liquor store, right? That guy gets pulled over, fits the description of the deal. He answers the questions. Hey man, where you been? Where you going? Right? And he says, well, hey man, I just went to the liquor store, picked up a pack of smokes, stopped over here, and I'm on my way home. Guess what he just did? He put himself at the scene of a crime. That man found himself in jail for 6 months before the cops and the DA figured out it wasn't him because he answered questions. Right?
Okay.
So it's not because we don't want to comply. It's not because we don't want to make your job easy. It's because there's consequences on the back end potentially in any interaction with the police officer. That's it, man. That's all it boils down to. And in this case, it boiled merely down to a matter of respect. Because Sergeant Garcia showed up, he was amazing. The epitome of professionalism. That man was spectacular. Do you guys have a commendation process? I've asked 3 people about a commendation process for you guys. I want to submit a complaint on Borovac. I want to submit a commendation on Sergeant Garcia. He was amazing. Professional. We talked to Garcia. My son, he asked if he could ask my son questions. I said in my presence. My son talked to him, gave him a statement. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't about not talking to the cops. It was about...
Kind of was.
No.
It kind of was.
No.
Because
it was about not... Well, first of all, let me make it clear. I will stand up for my obligation and my rights not to talk to you guys. Okay. Right?
Fair.
If I need to. If I'm in a situation, I will absolutely stand up for that right, which was this situation, with that particular officer. With that particular, because he was a cannon, man. Like that. As soon as I challenged his authority, it wasn't deference to his badge, he immediate change. Right? Sergeant Garcia was bomb. Sergeant Garcia came over, man, hands in his pockets, He didn't come over, like this, puffing his chest out, man. Sergeant Garcia come up like this, We had a great conversation. Absolutely outstanding. Let me vent, get it over with. There's a reason Sergeant Garcia has stripes. There's a reason Borovac's got 20 years down here and no stripes up here. Man, he just needs to understand he serves the public, man. That's it. That's it, man. He serves the public. He gets up in a crime scene, man. That man could be a real asset to your team in a real violent situation where things are going to shit, right? And you need that bulldog. Yeah, but that bulldog's got to also be able to play with the kids. You know what I mean?
I agree.
That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
That bulldog doesn't play well with the kids, man. Crying 17-year-old, a dad, you know. Go on. Hey, Dad, calm down. We're gonna take care of, right? Get the scene calm. De-escalate. Don't escalate. You guys are trained to do that. So, here's the deal. I'm gonna leave it at that. Here's my complaint.
Okay. Okay.
If I can get a copy or some sort of time receipt that I have turned it in, I greatly appreciate that. And
Okay.
a business card, that'd be awesome.
What's your name, sir?
John. My information is all on there for you.
It is.
Activated 24, now you 15, direct.
So I am not Officer Boravac's immediate supervisor. I'm the administrative sergeant for the traffic bureau.
Okay.
So, here it is.
You know, I was telling Sergeant Garcia that, you know, when I grew up, all I ever wanted to be was a cop or Marine, and I couldn't get a medical release to do either one because of a car accident I had. So I had to find another way to chase bad guys to serve my country. And it's really unfortunate. You know, my son-in-law's in law enforcement. You know, my stepdad before he died was in law enforcement. I get what you guys do. And right now, your number one priority, especially when you guys are at a non-violent scene, isn't enforcing laws or making traffic stops. It's building relationships with the community. You know? That goes a long way with the community. And that's what they're looking for, man.
Then there was also female pistols or hands doing your business in front of the Walgreens, competitive pump area checked out.
Give you this as the time that we received it. Here's my signature. Here's my name. Here's my phone number. I will pass this on to the immediate supervisor, Officer Borovac.
And just so you know, I'm not one of these guys that posts every interaction that I have with the police up on the YouTube. I've only posted one other one. It was a traffic stop that I had up in Payson. That officer interaction was fine. I felt he was policing for profit. That was really, and he inflated my speed. I know that for a fact, but that was my issue with the stop. And but he was very professional, man. I took no issue with his performance on duty, and that was expressed in my video. But it was my issue was that he was policing for profit. And this went up as well.
Okay.
So, if you want to look at my channel,
All right. What's your channel?
Just a Guy Having Fun. Literally, the banner on my YouTube channel says, "Enjoy my stupid videos." You know, I'm not a cop watcher. I mean, look at my shirt, dude. This is my life's motto, man. Don't be a dick. Right? I got a website. I sell these t-shirts. You know, I've been asking me about these for years. You know, I'm not a dick. I don't want to be a dick. But the back of the shirt says, rule number 2, if you're going to be a dick, commit. Right? And I had to do that in order to stand up for mine and my son's rights that day. That's pure and simple. I've outlined what I feel his violations are. I copied the policy and what I feel is support of it. And so we'll see what happens. I very much appreciate. Look, we didn't agree on everything, right? It doesn't mean I don't like you. I think you're a good guy. Here's what I want to leave you with. You got 25 years on, man, right? It changes our mindset, right? We get wired different. I'm wired different. I pull up to an intersection, I don't look at this the same way after 30 years of doing what I do.
Sure.
You know, I don't look at my surroundings the same way after 30 years of what I do, right? But I got to check myself sometimes, right? I'm going to ask you to kind of just look at it more from a citizen's perspective, considering the day and age we're in, man. Not everybody wants to be your enemy. Not everybody is out to get you, right?
Yes.
We want to support you, but we're a lot of people like me. I'm concerned. He tried to get me for obstruction, right? Or he says I was obstructing, right? Which to me, we're now taking the next step towards an arrest. And I looked at him and said, criminal or governmental? Because I think you got a better shot at me at governmental. I went back to my car. I keep laminated cards of a lot of basic laws that we deal with on a daily basis in my car, right? I got 28-1595 on my dash. You get involved with a cop, it's stressful. You're not going to remember all this crap when you get, you know. I says to him, criminal, governmental. I went back to my car. I pulled out one of my cards. Just got them both on there. I read it back to him. It doesn't qualify. Obstruction is a physical thing. It's not a verbal thing. Especially when I'm trying to sign up for my minor son. I mean, so we got several basic, from my perspective, several basic misunderstandings of basic ARS laws, 28-1595, 1324. He uses those every day. Every day. And I'm sure he uses, you know, 132409, obstruction, every day. He needs to know them, right? That Fifth Amendment thing. Look, research that, Sergeant. I think you're off base on that. I'm not gonna call you a liar. I'm not gonna say that you're. I'm telling you, Sergeant. Just research it, and also consider that's the way you said it from a citizen perspective, right? I get it from the law enforcement. It's not a criminal thing. What's the big deal talking to cops, right? Well, you made a statement to a cop, right? So that could be used against you from a third party who summoned a statement from the cop. Cops may not give a shit, but somebody else may care about it for that civil matter, that financial consequence down the line.
Sure.
So
it's not the constitutionally protected speech.
But that may be why they don't want to. That may be why they want to utilize that constitutional protection not to speak to you. Right? We can utilize that constitutional protection not only for criminal matters, but maybe also for civil matters. Right?
So the law is not extended to civil matters.
That constitutional protection extends across the board. There's no exceptions in the Fifth Amendment.
It's either in the court or it's in law enforcement developing probable cause. So there's not.
But nobody else
trying to develop any probable cause.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Sort of criminal.
Because of the statements he makes, it could lead to other questions that may develop probable cause. Right? If he makes a statement, A, that leads the officer to question B, and when he asks question A, before he asks question A, he has no probable cause, reasonable suspicion, right? But when he answers question A, it leads to question B, that then causes the officer to have reasonable suspicion or probable cause. So by answering,
this is just a traffic wreck, though. So
I know, but
just
traffic wrecks lead to other things. Traffic wrecks lead to other things. Consensual contacts lead to other things, right?
Sure.
That you guys get a lot out of consensual contacts just because you walk up to somebody, hey, have a conversation. They don't know their Fifth Amendment right. You may just be checking out somebody in the park, and guess what? They answer questions lead you to believe they have drugs or might be in a gang.
Right.
Right? My son may answer some questions that may put him at the scene of a crime somewhere else. It's only a traffic stop, but now he's placed himself at the scene of a crime somewhere else because he answered questions. I don't trust Officer Borovac. Why would I answer his questions? I answered Sergeant Garcia's questions.
for probably the same questions that Officer Borovac
And he would have gotten the answers to those questions if he would have handled that initial contact a little bit better. He would have gotten those answers. That would have went a whole lot different. He would have gotten those answers if he wouldn't have had the attitude and been disrespectful in the way he was. Sergeant Garcia got him because he was respectful. He earned my respect. Respect is earned, it's not given. He thinks it's just given. So, well, it was Sergeant Forbes. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it.
My info's on there if you need to.
All right.
If you want to chat about it some more.
Look, man, I've said my piece. I get the process, right? I'm not the guy that's going to call you every day and say, how's my investigation going? You guys got 30 days to take care of it. I sit it out for 30 days and we see what happens, right? You know, I hope my expectations are met. I don't believe they will be, but we'll play it out, right?
Sure.
Right. We all follow the process, Sergeant.
All right. Sir.
Everybody plays. The rules are there to keep us all accountable, right?
Right.
Even you guys.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Have a good day. Oh, my soda. Fuck, I hope I got that. My phone died.